which begins on. Well, we did a whole parak on Thursday night. One whole parak, entire parak on Thursday night, and you missed most of the 8th parak too. We are on Mem something on base. Where are we? No, Nunam now. Nunam base. Nunam base. Okay. We are Nunam base at the new Mishnah, parak Yud. Batzal shenosna b'tel chadashim. A lot of these halachas, even though they're ostensibly halachas of truma, are really very basic yesodus in all of Shas, as you will see. Batzal shenosna b'tel chadashim. You have an onion which you put into lentils. Now the onion is a truma onion. You put it into a batch of lentils which are cooking. Im sholem, if the onion is whole, mutter, then the onion is permitted. Then the onion, although it is truma, does not impart a taste at all to the lentils, and therefore you are allowed, you Yisrael are continued to be permitted to eat the lentils. Okay, even after it's cooked. Im chascho, if you cut up the onion, benose tam, then the onion doesn't impart a flavor, and you have to assume that the onion imparted a flavor to the lentils. And a Kohen has to taste it to see if it did give a flavor, not give a flavor, and if there's no Kohen to taste it, so you'd have to look at Balta B'Shishim and so on and so forth. V'shar kol tavshil, any other type of spice or herb or dish of truma which you put into a mixture, beim sholim beim mechutach, whether it's cut or whether it's whole, benose tam, so we assume that it gives a flavor. Rabbi Yehuda permits a case where you put a spice into herring. Tzachana is pickled fish. So he says that let's say we're talking about here an onion. In this case, the onion, even if it's cut up, right? It's not a whole onion; it's cut up onion. Still, you're only putting it there not to give a taste, but rather to remove some off taste. There's an afkamina. If you're putting it to impart a taste, then Rabbi Yehuda says it's also. If you're putting it in order to take away an off taste, then it's okay. All right? Let's see the Gemara. Let's skip to the Gemara. Rabbi Chizkiah and Rav Acha b'shem Rabbi Abba bar Bebel both said, Masnisa, our Mishnah is talking about bishenosno. When you have the word bishenosno? Okay, so this word is added on. Bishenosno, when you put in the onion, mishotzi adoshim me'em, after the lentils have already produced the liquid. Now, obviously, when you cook lentils, it's not obvious because what do we know? But when you cook lentils, they secrete a liquid. And if you only put the onion in after this liquid has been secreted, so then ashadoshim tsoftos oso, the liquid which came out of the lentils seals them, shelo, and it should be here shelo yitain, that the onion will not give them a flavor. It will not give them a flavor. In other words, that liquid which comes out causes the onions now to be sealed because they're not moist enough internally, and they have this liquid around them which prevents the taste of the onion from transferring to them.
It's like a one-way street.
One-way street, yeah. Shelo Yivla. Yeah, I don't know why he changed it over here. He changed it in this Gemara, but I don't know why.
It's not an action on the.
No, but he actually learns, now look at Kavanok again, he says it actually seals the onion. Shadashim Tovstosa Shelo Yitain means not that the lentils are, I guess that's nafkamim between the two gersos. If you learn Shelo Yivla means it seals the lentils from being from accepting. So if you learn Shelo Yitain, it means it seals the onion from giving off. Do you have this? What's your next line? Okay, so he has a whole line he adds in. It's just the flip side. If you put in the onion before the lentils start secreting lo b'da. In that case, the lentils do become also from the onion. Now, going on to where you have it, for kumadat amar adoshim tzofto so shelo yitain. Just like we say that the lentils seal it. That again, he changed the gears from yivla to yitain, right? That it's not going to give the onion, it's not going to give a flavor. Udekavosa, so too adoshim tzofto so the lentils seal it off. Shelo, what do you think he changed the next one to? Yivla, right? That it doesn't swallow, it doesn't absorb. So meaning that it works both ways. Okay, the lentils don't absorb from the onion don't absorb from the lentils. Now says the Gemara, hey chavida, you have hey masnis in avida? What? Okay, so he messes it up altogether. It says, hey chavida, why am I bringing down this last point? In other words, why am I saying that it works vice versa as well? No, it's not, he takes the word masisa because we're not about to explain the Mishnah, we're about to explain why we brought down this last comment that it works both directions. For the following case. If the reverse was true, it wasn't the case of our Mishnah, where you put an onion from Truma into lentils, but rather you put an onion of Chulin into lentils of Truma, right? So there too, it's not a two-way street, right? But in other words, the sealing off process seals off both foodstuffs. Va'afilu kain, nonetheless, you probably don't have this whole line. Even in that case, the lentils seal off the onion, so the onion can't be boleh. Now you do have the line avobatzel shel truma shenasa toch hadashim shachulin lo bedar, right? Take it out. That line is not true, because obviously we just learned the antithesis of that. We learned that if we learned that in our Mishnah, batzel shel truma, if you put into hadashim shachulin, of course it seals it and nothing absorbs either way. So he takes out that whole line. Okay? Hada the tamar, you probably don't have to say that either. Hada the tamar biyavish. Do you have the word biyavish? Okay. We're talking about a dried onion. Not completely dry, but somewhat dry. Ava balach, but if the onion is still somewhat moist, haser. Because then the onion secretes its flavor even though it's whole. A whole onion doesn't secrete flavor if it's slightly dry. If it's still moist, then it secretes flavor, and therefore if the onion is a truma onion, then it answers the lentils. Okay? Bibotzel, and it's also only talking about an onion. Avo bekaflut with leek. You know, guys know what leek is? It's a soup vegetable. It's like a green onion, a large green onion. Avokaflut ben lachman yavich, whether it's moist or dry, whether it's cut or whole or cut, also it forbids the rest of the, the whole mixture. Also, I don't know if you have this either. You don't have the next four words. Ubelow heavier pitmaso. It's where you didn't remove the tip of the onion. Avol heavier pitmaso. There you have it already. If you remove the tip of the onion, the onion is considered to be cut up. In other words, obviously onions don't have a pitum. What it means is you removed either end of the onion, so then in that case it's considered to be cut up, and it secretes its flavor into the lentils. Also, this is a bigger chiddush. If there were 2 or 3 small onions, they're like cut up onions. I guess smaller onions have a stronger taste. That's just, I don't know if that's true or not, but 2 or 3 small ones are like one cut up one.
It's more surface area.
Could be. I don't know. I just know that Spanish onions are not milder, they're larger ones. Spanish onions are milder than small onions. So that's what I'm saying. That's why those are large, yeah. Large onions, I think, are milder in general. So, Hada Tamar goes for white onions, also a little milder. This is also only when the outer husk, the brown skin, doesn't have any flavor. But at the outer brown shell does have a flavor to it, I'm not sure how you tell the difference. If there's a case where it's a type of onion where the skin has a flavor, they lead in time also then it asks the whole mixture. Okay? Do you have a header now? Rabbi Yehuda Matir B'Tzachno? Tamon Tninon? Okay. So Tamon Tninon, we're going back to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah said, Rabbi Yehuda said by herring, the onion in the herring is just made in order to take away an off taste. It's not made to impart taste, so therefore it's good. So Tamon Tninon, we learned over there, meaning in Meiser Sheni. Dogin she's bashlin kapluto shel Meiser Sheni. You have herring which was cooked with some sort of turnip type vegetable, which was Meiser Sheni. V'yishbichu, and now the fish tastes better. Hashvach lefi cheshbon. So you have to redeem the fish as if they're Meiser Sheni based on the amount of enhancement that they provided. It's a direct contradiction to our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says that whatever vegetables you put into the herring, it just takes off an off taste. It doesn't impart a taste. And here we're saying that it makes it taste better. So how do we reconcile this with our Mishnah? So Rav Eish said, Masnisa, this Mishnah in Meiser Sheni, the Lok Rabbi Yehuda, it's not going to Lok Rabbi Yehuda. Because we learned through our Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda Matir B'Tzachna, Rabbi Yehuda says by herring, the vegetable that you put in, even if it's of truma, does not impart a prohibition to the herring. Sheina litos azuma, because the only reason you put in that vegetable is to take away the bad taste. So Rabbanan the Kesarim, we're on the top of Nun Alpha and Alpha now. Rabbanan the Kesarim Bayon, Rabbanan the Kesarim wanted to say, they're not asking a question, they're proposing. V'hada de'amar Rabbi Avo b'shem Rabbi Yochanan. That which Rabbi Avo said to Rabbi Yochanan. Kol ha'yisurim shebeTorah. All the prohibitions of the Torah, Mishayin Oson, we reckon them. When we try to see if they're batel or not, where they're nullified by the mixture, we look at them kilu hu bat. I don't know how you have this line, but I have kilu hu batzo kilu kaflut, as if it's onion, as if it's turnip, right? To lo Rabbi Yehuda. That's not can't be going like Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yochanan says this is brought down in also in the Bavli. Rabbi Yochanan Chulin says, and whenever you want to be Mishar, we want to reckon Bata B'Shishim, so look at this as if it's an onion, we look at this as if it's a turnip. And then we see, if this was an onion, if this was a turnip, would it be Bata in the amount of other substance which is here in the pot. And generally speaking, it's a euphemism. I'm not sure, I don't even recall exactly how it works, but it's a euphemism for Bata B'Shishim. Not a euphemism, it's synonymous with Bata B'Shishim. So things like that, Rabbi Yochanan is using the analogy of Batzel and Kaflut. Well, that can't be going like Rabbi Yehuda, because if it was going like Rabbi Yehuda in our Mishnah, so you should have put a qualifier into that. That I mean onion and turnip where it imparts a positive taste, as opposed to when it's in fish, because when it's in herring it doesn't impart a positive taste, rather it just takes away an off taste. So therefore, were he told Rabbi Yehuda that there's a difference between an onion and a turnip in the herring or anything else, he should have told us that there's such a difference, right? Umod Rabbi Yehuda kibatzo shel hektish. Be that as it may, says the Gemara. You know what? An interesting thing, fascinating actually, that Rabbi Yehuda concedes if you have onion of hektish, umod kibatzo shel avodah zarah, or onion of avodah zarah, and you put into the fish, it answers the whole thing. Onion of truma doesn't. Onion of hektish, onion of avodah zarah would. Why would you think so? What's the difference? Why not? And so therefore it's aser. Why? Because it's aser Gana. So even if they're all Gana, it doesn't have to give a taste. It has to provide you with benefit. And if it's taking away the repulsive, the whatever, it's taking away a negative, an off taste, so then that of itself is Gana. So therefore hektish and avodah zarah are not batel. Even though the onion, when it's a truma onion, is batel, because truma is not osir b'noah for Yisrael, and the fact that it takes away the off taste is not a no saint tam, is not giving a taste, and therefore it remains mutter. But by avodah zarah and by hektish, which are even osur bana, so therefore the very fact that you're deriving the benefit of taking away the off taste is sufficient to asur it. Okay? Let's go back to the Mishnah. Tapuch sherisko. You have an apple which you chopped up. So you put it into a dough. And this fermented the dough, so the dough rose. Hareza asura. This is asur. Now here the principle being expressed by our Mishnah is that a dovra mechametz, something which causes dough to ferment and rise, even in 1,000 is not batel. Normally truma is batel b'meya. It's like that's exactly. It's not like it is. It's dovra ma'amin afilu be'elflo batel, right? Since it gives it its character, so it's always recognizable. It's not really batel. Batel means it's nullified. It can't be nullified. It gave the character of the risen bread, right? So orim shenofu toch bar shamayim. If you have barley which fell into a vat of water, even though it makes the water disgusting, mutar, and the water remains mutar. Why? Because it's no seitam lefkam. It gives an off taste. There's a very famous shiur in Israel on Pesach. You're aware of the shiur, of course, right? The shiur is, how can you drink water in Israel on Pesach? Oh, come on, you never heard the shiur before? No? Where does all the water from Israel come from? All drinking water? From the Kinneret. So there are restaurants on the Kinneret, and they dump bread into the Kinneret. I don't know, intentionally, unintentionally. Anyway, any passerby who's feeding birds can dump bread into a Kinneret. And chometz is not bottled even b'mashu on Pesach. So, and it's not nice in time of gam either. It's not like these barley things. So if that's the case, how can you drink any water on Pesach? So their take are people who store up water from before Pesach for drinking, who store up water for all 7 days. They don't drink for the water supply because chametz before Pesach is batel. Only on Pesach it's not batel. Right, so they store up water for all seven days beforehand. But it's not a problem because it's not no time of gam. Their poskim will speak about it, why it's mutter to drink water, but it is a problem. It could be a problem here too, I guess, but I don't think most of our water doesn't come from lakes. It comes from
like Michigan. In that case, I don't want to drink it all year long.
Yeah, okay. Tanya, we learned. Let's go to the Gemara. Tanya, tapuch sherisko. You have an apple which you cut up. Nosatochi, so you put it into a dough, and it fermented the dough. Harezu asura. So the dough is prohibited. Rabbi Yossi Mater said it's okay. Rabbi Yachor, Rabbi Avo B'Shem, Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina said, Ma'pliin, what's the machlokes? Only b'mechametz b'meimov. A very interesting thing. I don't know exactly how the science of this works, but it's only if you ferment with the apple juice. The juice that comes from the apple. Then there's a machlokes, whether it causes the dough to become ulcer or not. But if you use the apple itself, the body of the apple to ferment, that's not considered to be true fermentation, and therefore it remains mutter. The dough remains mutter. Again, I don't know what the science of it is, but obviously they could discern a difference between something which is bona fide fermented and something which is only quasi-fermented, and this, when you use the apple itself, it doesn't ferment properly. So therefore, in that case, it's mutter. Kimbar the Rabbi Yossi, what's the comparison? It's one of these great Yerushalmi comparisons. Kimbar Rabbi Yossi Amar Tabon. Just like Rabbi Yossi said over there. Now you just have the word ein borur, right? Read me, what do you have there? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it should be the exact opposite. That's what he has here. Kamad Rabbi Yossi Amar Taman. Although knowing the Yerushalmi, I don't know, it's entirely possible that that's the proper girsa because Yerushalmi does it often like that. But he has Kamad Rabbi Yossi Amar Taman. Ein tavshilo tavshil borur keno Amar Hocha ein chimuto chimut borur. This is an amazing comparison. Rabbi Yossi holds that you're allowed to put an egg in fabric and put it out in the sun on Shabbos. because it's not true cooking. It doesn't cook well. It'll cook. It'll get hard. It'll get boiled, but not expeditiously. Now, this is Toldos Chama, right? This is the sun. Sun cooking is mutter midaraisa on Shabbos. It's only cooking on a fire, which is also. So here we have D'Rabbanan, and it's an unclear D'Rabbanan, right? So therefore he holds it's mutter. So to here, the same thing. What he's saying is that the truma of the apple here, Zman Hazeh, certainly when it's only D'Rabbanan, is not going to cause bona fide chimutz. It is not going to cause bona fide chimutz, bona fide fermentation. So therefore, I say that it's going to be permissible even after the dough ferments. It won't have the character of truma. Okay? So the Yerushalmi is saying, just like over there, saying which is not borur by Nissa D'Rabbanan, doesn't make it prohibited, and that's why cooking the egg in the fabric on Shabbos in the sun is okay. So to here, since it's a D'Rabbanan and it's not going to do it in a clear-cut fashion, so therefore it's mutter here as well.
You're not allowed to dry your raisins on the Shabbos.
That's because of Makabeh Patish. You're completing a process. By an egg, there's no such thing. I don't think there's Makabeh Patish. In other words, you're not changing it into something else. You're cooking. Yeah, cooking, I don't know. You're not going to eat a raw egg. You could. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know about I don't know if putting raisins, I don't think it's a d'oraisa. To put raisins on a roof on Shabbos would probably only be Nissa D'Rabbanan, not Nissa D'Oraisa. Yeah, but I don't think it would be Nissa D'Oraisa. I don't think so. Okay, says one further. I have a header, Sarim Shenoflu V'chulei. Tanya, very basic brisa here. Call nos, there's also brisa in Avodah Zarah. Call nos netam, anything which imparts a taste. Bein l'shvach, bein l'pgam, where the taste is positive for the substance to which it is imparted, or negative. Asurin, divrei meir, they're also going to amir. Reb Shimon Aimer, and we of course pass on Reb Shimon. It depends. L'shvach osur, if it imparts a positive taste, it's forbidden. L'pgam, if it imparts a negative taste, mutter. On Reb Shimon ben Lakish mapliin, when is the machlokes? K'shishbiach, when it got better. Ubaso pogam, and then got worse. Avo pogam was but if it got worse first and then got better, after a mayor mode, even our mayor concedes that because according to Reish Lakish, we always look at when it initially came in. If it came when it came in initially was mashbiach, that then it can be kinaser. But it came in initially was pogam, then it kinaser, and then Rai Meir holds its osir. That's Rai Meir holds its osir. The machlokas Kurchin Rabbi Shimon Rai Meir is going to be in a case where when it fell in it was good, then it became bad. So Rai Meir says when it fell in it's good, so therefore it doesn't matter. Later it became bad, it still remains osir. Shimon says since later on it became bad, in that case it's mutter. However, where it fell in it was bad, even if later on it became good, at that point it became batel. And therefore later on I don't care, even if it tastes better afterwards. So that even Rai Meir would concede. All according to Reish Lakish, right? Again, Avo Pogam was Sovish Biach, after Meir Moide. For Rabbi Yochanan Amar, that's all Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish. Of course, they don't pass like Reish Lakish. Rabbi Yochanan Amar said, Lo Shan Yohi, there's no difference. He's Biach L'Besov Pogam. Whether first it was good and then it became bad, he Pogam. Or first was bad and then was good, became good. Machlokes. Do you have all that? It doesn't matter. The bottom line is it doesn't matter. It's always a machlokas. But according to Meir, it doesn't make a difference. It's always usher. And according to Rabbi Shimon, it depends. It has to be mashbiach at some point. If it's mashbiach at some point, it's usher. If it's pogam the whole time, then it's mutter. Okay? Tzrinan, we learned. Sarim shenofu tocha bor shamayim. You have barley which fell into a vat of water. In our Mishnah it says, Ava bishavishu meimov. Even though the water went bad, Meimel Mutar, the water is good, right? Hada Masnisi Mahi. Who's our Mishnah going like? Rabbi Yochanan Bar Machlokas. Rabbi Yochanan holds it to Machlokas because he holds that according to our mayor, regardless whether it's Nosi Tal Mishvach at the beginning, Nosi Tal Mishvach at the end, never Nosi Tal Mishvach, always Nosi Tal Mishvach, Rabbi Meir always answers. So our Mishnah cannot be going like Rabbi Meir. Our Mishnah going like Rabbi Shimon, because Rabbi Shimon holds as long as it's Nosi Tal Mishvach, it's okay. You can be Mavato. Rabbi Shimon Lakish Omer Divrei Hakol. Shimon Lakish says our Mishnah goes according to everybody, because according to Shimon Lakish, even Rabbi Meir holds wherever it's pogem immediately when it falls in, so then it's bato. So barley and water, or immediately when the barley falls in, it gives it an off taste, and therefore according to Meir, our Meir who says normally no sin tam livkam might be a problem. That's only when it first falls in, it's good, and then it turns bad. But here, because it's bad from the get-go, so therefore our Mishnah can never be good, even according to Meir. Rabbi Yossi Bar Bun said, Elaine, this one is min shmuasa, is one of the cases there, I guess there's several of them, where Rabbi Yochanan are machlokes. Rabbi Yochanan says that it would be a machlokes, our Mishnah, it would be a machlokes Shin Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon lucky Shrei Meir Divrei Hakol, that the Mishnah could be going like everybody. Okay? Halacha beis. Haroide pas chama. This is a very famous Mishnah. It appears in the Bavli also, a couple of times I think. Yeah. Haroide pas chama. I took a hot loaf of bread out of the oven, and showed truma, and I put it on top of a barrel which contains truma wine. Rabbi Meir Oser Meir asers the bread because it absorbs the wine. Rabbi Yehuda permits the bread. Rabbi Yossi Matim Shachidin creates a distinction. If it's wheat, it's also because it absorbs. It's mutter, sorry. If it's wheat, it's mutter because it's not absorbed. V'osa b'shelus sorim. He's mati with wheat and forbids barley. Mivnei sha'asorim shavos, because barley sucks in. Let's go to the Gemara. Skip. Rabbi Zira. Rabbi Zira said, Bon kumi Rabbi Yanai. They asked for Rabbi Yanai. Nostapi chavis megufa. Mao. Now, do you have any of that? You have all of it. I don't know. Sometimes these codes don't make any sense to me. Anyway, you put it out. What happens? You put the hot piece of bread on a closed barrel. Armor alone. So he said, "Yagir love rail." Let's learn from the Jason Mishnah. Mal Yagir love rail. Where do I have an adjacent Mishnah which teaches me anything about this? Literally, Yagir rail means let's learn from his friend. Rabbi Yossi said, no, it's not its friend over here. It's its friend in Machshirin. What? Right. And so you just learn Machshirin? Okay. Now, the truth is, I have to give you a little bit of introduction here. There's a Mishnah there which is similar to our Mishnah over there. Our Mishnah there is similar to our Mishnah over here. The Mishnah there says like this: you have a piece of bread. Let's say it was kneaded with mei peros, which are not machshir l'kabel tuma, because they're not beverages. Now you put it on a barrel of wine. It sucks in the wine. Open barrel. Well, open. That's what we're assuming. It's now machshir l'kabel tuma, because wine and oil are machshir l'kabel tuma. So if you put it on an open barrel, now this piece of loaf of bread is machshir l'kabel tuma. Familiar? Okay? So that's one Mishnah. That's similar to our Mishnah. There's an adjacent Mishnah to that. Kiyara Tina Tamon. Over there we learn an adjacent Mishnah. Chavis Malaya Peiros. This is an amazing Mishnah. You have a barrel full of fruit. Unasuna l'socha mashkin. And this barrel of fruit is inside mashkin. It's inside liquids. Now imagine this. You have two barrels, one inside the other, right? So you have a barrel full of fruit inside an outer barrel which has liquids in it. Now the fruit in the inner barrel is not yet mukshar l'kabel tuma. It's not yet. But the outer liquids, the liquids in the outer barrel, soak through. It's talking about a pottery. They soak through, and they're machshir the fruit on the inside. Okay, they're absorbed through the walls. Right, seep through the walls. Right, good word. They seep through the walls. Or vice versa, same idea. Shemlei mashkin sulatoch bears. If you have an inner barrel which has liquids in it, which is inside an outer barrel of fruit, that there's seepage. However, it says there. So we see it can go through. That's A. We see it clearly can go through, just like there's seepage over there, and that the fruit is affected by the liquid in the outer barrel because it's seepage through the wall of the inner barrel. So to by us, there can be seepage through the lid into the piece of bread which is sitting on top of it. Okay?
Assuming that the liquid is immediately
that's about very good. That's what he says. However, just like you say over there, that the mashkin, the beverage, has to touch the barrel, like you just said. So to here, here too, vushate kikar no gas magufa. Here too, it has to be that the piece of bread touches the lid, and of course that the beverages come up to the lid on the bottom. And over Raimana, the Ramana says the same thing. We learn from there, just like the beverage has to touch the barrel itself. Here too, vushate kikar no gas magufa atzma. It has to be that the loaf touches the barrel itself. Now, I have to tell you something very, very important. Very important. The Bavli has a similar sugya in Avodah Zorah and in Pesachim. However, in the Bavli sugya, in contradistinction to the Yerushalmi sugya, the Bavli learns that we're talking about the smell. And it's a question of reicha milsa. The smell of the wine goes into the bread. The Yerushalmi is not learning smell. What's Yerushalmi learning? Seepage. And that's why we don't pass like this Yerushalmi. So Machlokas Bavli Yerushalmi, how to learn these Mishnayos? Our Mishnah over here, the Yerushalmi is learning our Mishnah, and it's avoiding seepage. That the wine is going to seep into the bread through the cover, through the barrel, whatever the case may be. The Bavli doesn't learn the way the Bavli learns that it's reicha. It's a question of smell. And therefore, the Yerushalmi holds its seepage. Seepage, who disagrees with seepage? Of course seepage. It makes sense. The Yerushalmi Bavli says it's a smell. That's only according to the opinion that reicha milsa. We pass in reicha lab milsa. That smell is not considered to be like substance. And therefore we're making all these issues. Okay?
Say reicha milsa.
Yeah.
It would be machshir l'kapatuma?
No.
The aroma wouldn't...
No. The Yerushalmi, the Bavli will have to learn that the Mishnah Machshirin is talking about with his actual seepage. But the Bavli doesn't make the connection that the Mishnah and Machshirin is the Pshat in our Mishnah. According to Bavli, it's two separate sugyas, right? There's the issue of Reicha Milsa on the one hand, and the issue of seepage to be Machshir Kabatum on the other hand. The Yerushalmi learns that they're the same sugya. Okay?
In the sense that it would be the same sugya.
Well, it does, because the Mishnah is similar, but, oh well. Says more Milse Amara. This logic, taking it further, again the Yerushalmi Smola, teaches us afilu b'tzonenes, that even if the bread is cold, which is a little bit of against the Yerushalmi, because the Bavli says Rota Paschama, it says in our Mishnah, hot bread. Why hot bread? Because hot bread absorbs odors to a great extent. The Yerushalmi says it's not only hot bread, it's also cold bread, right? Rabbi Ba said, Kini, that's the way it is. We had such a story with a cold piece of bread. We said the same svara. So ask the Yerushalmi V'Tzanin and Chama. Doesn't it say hot bread, right? Which is a problem for the Yerushalmi because seepage has nothing to do with heat. Rabbi Chitzer said, so as Yerushalmi deal with this, Shlotomar Hoil V'Hevesh Hevel Kovesh Yemuter. I might say the heat repels the seepage. Okay, that would be the Yerushalmi. Yerushalmi is really up against the wall here. The Yerushalmi says, I might say that the heat repels the seepage. So therefore I'm just going to tell you that even hot bread is also because of seepage. Not just cold bread, but even hot bread. But obviously, seepage knows no difference between cold and hot. Okay? I should explain, there is more better logic to the Kavanaugh's explains it. He says that it's not that the heat repels the seepage. He says that the heat will turn the seepage into evaporate the seepage. That's what it is. The heat will evaporate the seepage and turn what is liquid into a vapor, and the vapor won't out. So that's what it means. So I might say if it was a hot piece of bread, it'll vaporize the seepage, and the seepage won't be a problem. Kamash Milan, that there's still enough seepage getting through to make it also. Right, then then it would be mutter because reichel milsa. Okay, you look displeased. You look troubled by all this. Okay, I'm Rabbi Shimon Lakish. So let's see here. All Rabbi Shimon Lakish. Shimon Lakish says, "Ma'im osim perus." This is a scientific statement here. If you find water, you have water in a pottery, and you find water on the out. It seeps through, and on the outside of the pot, it's also water. So my mosim peros means the outside of the barrel is like the inside of the barrel. Again, pottery barrels. The outside of the barrel is like the inside of the barrel. However, mashkin enosim peros. If you have a wine inside the barrel, and you find seepage on the outside of the barrel, it's not wine. And what's nafkamin? Of course, whether it can be mashal kabel tuma. If you find seepage on the outside, there's water on the outside of the pottery, and it comes in contact with fruit, it's machshel kabel tuma. But if you find seepage of a wine barrel on the outside of the barrel, it's not machshel kabel tuma, because that's not wine. It's something else. Whatever we call it, it's not wine. Okay?
And the reason why is because the wine barrels are made better, so
No. Wine doesn't seep properly. Water always remains water. It's not reduced from H2O to anything else. But wine, the primary, substance of the wine remains inside the barrel. So whatever seeps out is some, liquid. It's not wine. I'm not sure what to call it. He calls it zeir. He calls it sweat. So in any event, it's not machshel kabel tuma. So the Gemara wants to say, lo tzurcha de lo Rabbi Yehuda. What do you have there? How do you have that there? You don't have lo tzurcha. What do you have?
Before we have chaser or veina chaser. Now it says Rabbi Yehuda Omer ein mashkenos and peros kalik.
Wait. So second, we'll start from Rabbi Shimon Lakish.
Ma'im osim peros chaser. Mashkenos and peros veina chaser.
Oh, so he has a whole 3 lines that you don't have. Okay, so this is what he has. Listen, because that's the next couple lines here. Listen to what he again. Let me read it again. Okay? Lo tzurcha de lo Rabbi Yehuda. L'chayra, this only works according to Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda is the one in our Mishnah who said. Rabbi Yehuda is the one who said that the wine doesn't seep through and make the bread also. Look back in the Mishnah a minute. Mishnah said, "Arolai the pascham and the son of Gabi chavi shel yain shel truma." Ramiro is Rabbi Yehuda matir. Ramiro says it's also. Rabbi Yehuda says it's mutter. So it sounds like Rabbi Shlokish is only going Rabbi Yehuda, because Rabbi Yehuda is the one who says there's no seepage. Wine does not seep through the barrel, and also the bread. Ramiro holds it does. And we said it's even in a covered barrel, right? We just got through saying that based on Mishnah and Machshirin, that even in a covered barrel there's seepage and it makes it osir. So it sounds like Rish Lokish's statement is only going to look Rabbi Yehuda and not like Rabbi Meir, right? Lo tzurcha Rabbi Yehuda. The lo here means da ella. I know you don't have the whole line, but it sounds like this is only going like Rabbi Yehuda and not like Rabbi Meir. Rabbi Shimon Lakish. Now pick it up. Rather, Rish Lakish said, Rabbi Shimon Lakish Amar, Rabbi Meir. You don't have that either, right? According to Rabbi Meir, Ma'im osim peiros v'chaserim. Water seeps through and the inside volume is diminished thereby. Umashkinosim peros ve'enon chaser. Whereas wine seeps through, and the same volume of wine remains inside. I don't know what happened to the law of displacement of matter and all that, Newtonian physics, but the wine seeps through, but the same volume of wine remains inside.
Like you said before, it must be a sweat. It's not the wine itself.
No, but it does. According to Rameir, it is the wine itself, because Rameir holds it seeps through and offers the bread. Okay? Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ein mashkin osim peres kol ikar. Rabbi Yehuda says no. You can't say that. Cause if it remains the same volume inside, that means there was no seepage. So that Rabbi Shimon Lakish is explaining Machlokes Rameir and Rabbi Yehuda. Rameir holds there is seepage, but the volume remains the same inside. Rabbi says that's a paradox. You can't have seepage and have the volume inside remain the same. And therefore, says Rabbi Yehuda, there is no seepage, and that's why it's mutter.
That's how I'm trying to explain the confusion.
Yeah, but that. So here, I don't know how Rameir will explain this. I don't know. Maybe there's some components which come out, but they don't make a discernible difference. I don't know. Maybe it's not a. Elisha the Great, L'Keisarin to Caesarea, Limod Torah to learn. Vayinu Nostim, very interesting thing they had. These are Bachrim, right? Yeshiva Bachrim, and they were poor, right? So how they used to get a little bit of bread to eat. So they wanted to make the bread taste good. Though they had no spreads for it. So what do? Vayinu Nostim, Chamita Seinu. We used to put our little pieces of bread al gabe kabutin shamurias on covered barrels of fish brine in order to give it some taste. And we used to taste in it a taste of fish brine. So ask Gemara to low Rabbi Yehuda, it's not like Rabbi Yehuda, because like Rabbi Yehuda the taste doesn't go through. So how are they tasting the fish brine? Says Gemara, no. Ma'almin are you? They would dunk it into the fish brine. They would go in. They wouldn't just put it on top, they would dunk it in. According to Rabbi Yehuda. Ask the Gemara, if it ain't also Mishum Geza Baal Bayis, who owns the fish brine? Not the Yeshiva Bachrim. Baal Batim own the fish brine. Well, right that they have to dunk their bread in the fish brine? It's Gezo. Mainly put it on top so it just gets in the seepage. So the seepage of Baal Bayis is losing anyway, right? But if you put it inside, it's Gezo Baal Bayis. As Martin Notli Mayurshu, so show Baal Bayis. They got permission. Baal Batim had Rachmanas on the poor Yeshiva Bachrim, and they gave permission. Okay? Now, you don't have the next header, you don't have a header, but I have a header here. Rabbi Yossi Mati V'chulei. Rabbi Yossi drew a distinction between wheat and barley. So what if you have two loaves, one on top of the other? Barley on top, wheat below and barley on top. The barrel, a loaf of wheat and a loaf of barley. Okay? So, Chiti Milamaton, if there's wheat on the bottom, and above them barley, Kishem Shein Chitim Shavos, just like the wheat doesn't absorb the seepage, so to the barley on top of the wheat doesn't absorb the seepage. However, what happens if you have barley on the bottom and wheat on top? In that case, the barley absorbs the seepage, and then it travels through the barley, and the wheat absorbs from the barley. Which wheat can't absorb directly from the seepage of the barrel. I guess doesn't have that capacity. But once the barley absorbs, it serves as a medium to transfer the seepage to the wheat. Okay? Back to the Mishnah. Tano Sheisiko. Do you have that in the Mishnah? An oven which was fueled, become on show truma with caraway as its fuel. Don't know, caraway is a kind of seed, but I guess it's a spice. But I guess you can use it as a fuel as well. And this is caraway of truma. Vafabo, and he used this caraway of truma in order to bake bread. Hapas muteris. The bread is muter. Shein tam kamon el reach kamon. It doesn't have the taste of the caraway, only the fragrance of the caraway. So it's like smoked. If you would smoke something, hickory smoked, whatever, So the smoking just gives the smell, not a taste. And therefore, even if whatever you're using to smoke is usher, it doesn't make this usher.
Something like that in the
Yeah, we had something like that. I remember we had something like that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but you're right. There's some idea there. Okay. Yeah, well, probably there it's korban or something. It's korban or korban avodah, like we said before, would be also because of anoah. Okay? So let's go to the Gemara. Malitzlos shteishi pudim, very much a very interesting issue here. Can you based on this concept, can you roast two spits? Achad shabos shchuta, one which has shechted meat, v'achad shabos neveil, one which has neveil meat, b'taner echad, in one oven, right? Rabbi Yerushalmi Amar b'shem Rav Aser, u'Shmuel Amar b'shem Levi, that it's mutter. Masisa pligo leidi Rav. So the Mishnah argues on Rav, because our Mishnah says, not our Mishnah, Mishnah Psachim. Mishnah Psachim says, Ein solim shnei psachim tanurechem b'tayim midnei tarovis. You're not allowed to roast two psachim in the same oven because they might get mixed up. You might switch them and give the wrong one to the chabura who's supposed to eat it. Lom ruel midnei tarovis. So what's the whole problem? That then maybe they get switched. But if not because of that problem, there wouldn't be an issue. The fact that one absorbs to the other. In other words, that should be an issue. Because Pesach can only be eaten by its subscribers. And if the taste goes from Pesach to Pesach, you have a problem of subscribers eating that which is not theirs. So we see here, taste does not travel, and it's a raya for Shmuel that it's okay. In other words, that if the kosher and treif were cooked in the same oven, that it's okay. Now, meitzatre, you have truma of savory. Don't ask me what savory is. All I know is that we have in our spice closet at home. So you have savory from which you made truma. Now, savory is only eaten by animals, usually. Sometimes human beings use it for spice and such like. So it's truma's d'Rabbanan to begin with, because it's not a fruit, right? It's not a fruit or a grain, so it's truma's only d'Rabbanan. It's a vegetable, and it's a d'Rabbanan which usually doesn't apply because usually savory is not eaten by human beings. So there was a special kula by it. Rav Amar Aser. Rav says that it's Aser. Well, Rav is not make by it, but Shmuel Amar Mutter. Shmuel says permissible since it's usually not used for human beings, and it's whole truma's d'Rabbanan. And as the Rabbanan, which is not so prevalent, it's mutter. Eichel Shmuel made satre, and Shmuel follows a lot of reasoning. And Allah Lamaisa, he gave non-Kohanim to eat water, this is actually water which came out of savory of truma. Okay, it's water which came out of savory of truma. I don't know, condensation or whatever the case may be. Since the savory itself, it's truma as a very not unprevalent thing, only the Rabbanan, so therefore it's able to give the water from savory, the secretion of the savory, even to non-Kohanim. Hadin Tavia, what happens if you roasted a treif in your oven? So you have to kasher it afterwards. After they used to have, I guess inadvertently, obviously, roasted treif in their oven, so they used to kasher it by fueling it up with palm tree branches, which would be a form of libun, which would permit the oven.
So getting back to the case where the nevela and the kosher food were in the same oven.
Yeah.
How would it possible?
The Chachila shouldn't do it, but the evidence it's okay.
It is okay.
Yeah. Right, small oven without a problem, but it's regular sized oven wouldn't be a problem. Right. But the evidence.
And it's only because of tarovis? Because you might get mixed up?
Yeah, but if you could tell the difference, then no. Chatchila it's also because of the taste, the fumes. But the evidence that's not a problem because the paskin rechala milsa, right? Unless it's that's as the poet said, it's very close together, very tightly packed. Okay, on we go. Halacha Gimel. Tilson, fenugreek. Shenava of Truma, of course. Shenava toch borshel yain, which falls into a vat which holds wine. B'Truma meiser sheni, when the fenugreek is Truma meiser sheni. Imyesh bezar kadei litain tam, Fenugreek has both seeds and wood. So if the seeds are sufficient to give a taste, then it asks the wine as Trumos Meiser Sheni. Of a little bit, we don't take into account the wood, even though the wood has flavor. But since the wood is inedible, so therefore it doesn't count as part of the Truma Meiser. However, B'Shmiyas of Kili HaKerem V'Hektish, if the fenugreek was fenugreek from Shemitah, or from Kilayim, or from Hektish, then we have to take the wood into account, because the wood is always also in all these things. In Shmiyas and Kili HaKerem and in Hektish, the wood is part and parcel of the substance, and therefore it becomes also. Okay? Ask the Gemara a technical question, go to the Gemara. Vein 8 Poge. Doesn't the wood give a bad taste? The wood is not good. The good part of the fenugreek is the yeah, but obviously the Gemara felt that the fenugreek is no good. So it's not like cinnamon or something like that. So the skipping the next words because he takes them out. Masnisa kamad omar no sitam v'gamos or enochrami. Or this mission is going like the period which holds that no sitam v'gam is not also. Vafilu kamad omar no sitam v'gam mutter. Says when you know what? No, it can even go like the opinion that holds no sitam v'gam is mutter. No, here it's different. Why? Lama kol davar shenafla. Why? Lama kol davar shenafla. Tochel tilson mashbiach. You're right. Fenugreek wood is good. It's like cinnamon stick, and therefore the wood gives a good taste, and that's why it's awesome. Okay, back to the Mishnah. Mishelo chavile tilson. Somebody who had bundles of fenugreek. B'kili hakerem, if they grew as kili hakerem, yidoku, they have to be burnt. Because they are also bano. What if you had bundles of fenugreek which were tevel, they hadn't yet been tied? So kotesh, so you're allowed to first separate the seed from the wood. And then you reckon how much seeds there are. And you separate from the seeds to give the kohen. So you don't have to separate from the wood and give the kohen any of the wood. However, im he fresh. What happens if you took off the truma before separating the seed from the wood? Then it's not fair. Lo yoma, you should say in that case, echtosh, now I'll separate it. Vetol sa'etz vetin, and I'll take the wood and I'll give the kohen the seed. Since you designated truma before separating the wood from the seed, you got to give the kohen the wood as well. Okay? You're allowed to separate it first and then only give him the seed. But if you didn't, you have to give him seed plus wood. Okay, let's go to the Gemara. B'kami chavila. How much is a bundle? Now, this is nothing to do with trumos, per se, but rather there's a halach which our mayor says that chavila tilson are never bottle. Bundles of fenugreek and their bottle because they're considered dover shemiminya. They're only sold by count, not by estimate. And therefore they're not bottle mirabana no matter when they get mixed up. What's this bundle which is choshev and never bottle? Has 25 twigs in it. 25 stalks. Rabbi Yochanan said it still has to have a size besides that. It has to be that they're large enough that 4 of these would make up a bed for a human being. So the 25 stalks have to have some moshes to them. Now, I don't know if you have a header here. Do you have that header? No? You have Milsi Amara? What do you have next? You have that, Dr. Spadel? Milsi Amara? Milsi Amara, our Mishnah teaches us that when they're in bundles, they're ready tevel, meaning that you can't even eat them on an ad hoc basis. You can't snack on them. Right? So that when they're in bundles, it's tantamount to by grain to having coming to the house, when you can no longer eat by it firm snack from it. Says the Gemara, if you don't have to separate the seed from the stalk in order for it to be considered to be per tevel, fixed as tevel, and that you have to eat from it, you can't even snack from it. So if that's the case, even if they're just isolated stalks, why only if they're in bundles already? So it's my right? Oh no, Matavilu Shiboli means even if they're they're bundle of sheaves, right? Even a bundle of sheaves, should still be also. You don't bring him in like that. Now it seems, so again, what do I know? It seems that fenugreek comes in stalks, and then you move the stalks, or you split them, and you get twigs, and then the twigs themselves can be split, and you get into twigs and seeds. So it's stalks, twigs, seeds. So when it's a bundle of 25 twigs, that's Chavilei Tilson, and it's also to eat from it outright. More asks, why not make a bundle of stalks before it's made into twigs and seeds, and that also should be considered to be tevel. Says more because you don't store them like that. You don't bring them to the house normally like that, so then you can still snack for them when in that stage. So says the Gemara, sometimes you do take in bundles of stalks opposed to bundle of twigs. Yes, but you don't grow it for that purpose. You grow it not to use the stalks, but to use the twigs. So ever the Gemar Malacha, when it's complete and it's susceptible to meiser and otherwise it's tevel, that's only when it's already in twigs, not when it's still in stalk form, even if it's a bundle. When you gather them, as twigs, that's their Gemar Malacha, and you grow for that purpose, so that's when they become irrevocably tevel. Okay, halacha dalet. Zeisei chulin shekavshem zeisei truma. You have olives of chulin which you pickled together with olives of truma. If pitsui chulin pitsui truma, if they're broken olives, cracked olives of chulin with cracked olives of truma, or pitsui chulin, cracked olives of chulin im shleima truma with whole olives of truma, or b'mei truma, you have cracked olives of chulin with water of truma olives, in other words, water in which olives have been pickled, olives of truma pickled, also. In all those cases, the chulin becomes also. But if you had whole olives of chulin with cracked olives of truma, then it's mutter. Okay? Says the Mishnah. Oh yes, we do. Yeah. Now Gemara is going to explain it. Rabbi Yena said, Zosa Meris. Our Mishnah teaches us a fascinating thing. Psuin. If you have cracked olives, bowling. First they absorb. Now olives, as is, they don't taste good, right? So first, what has to happen to the olives? They have to get pickled, right? So first they absorb, right? Because they have to absorb the brine. So first they're bolea, then they're polate. Then they give off the taste because they have to give off the good taste, right? In order for the truma to aser the chulin. And so you have, and then they're closing a bolin. After they finish giving off, then they reabsorb, and that's how the chulin olives and the truma olives mix, and the truma aser the chulin. Again, first both are bolea the brine to make them taste better. Then both give off taste, right? Chulin and the truma, right? The truma has to give off the taste. Then after they give off the taste, they both reabsorb, and that's when the chulin olives absorb the truma olives, and that's when it becomes usher at that last stage. Shleimin. What about whole olives? So we see not that way. We say they're bolea. Of course, they get pickled, so they absorb, right? Upoltin, and then they give off, right? They give off the taste, right? And that's why if you have whole olives of truma with cracked olives of chulin, the whole olives of truma give off the taste, and the cracked olives of chulin absorb the taste, and it becomes usher. But if they're both sholem, then they're poltin v'shuven and bolin. They don't reabsorb, and that's why if you have whole, both are whole, both the truma and the chulin, yes, they both give off taste, but neither will reabsorb, and that's why the chulin remains mutter. Fascinating metzius. Okay, Hadamara. Now our Mishnah teaches us very interesting thing. This is a really fascinating thing. Hadamara lo l'shvach v'lo l'pgam aser. Our Mishnah teaches us that if you have a time which is neither l'shvach or l'pgam, it's still aser. How is it not l'shvach or l'pgam? Because olives are not mashbiach other olives. The taste of the truma olives doesn't make the chulin olives taste better. The way I always understood Noisin Tam L'Shvach, since the earliest youth, I'm exaggerating, is that Noisin Tam L'Shvach means that it gives a good taste or neutral taste.
Says Yerushalmi, a neutral taste is not called nosei tam l'shvach. The concept of nosei tam l'shvach, which asers, is only if it improves. The Isser improves the taste of the substance in which it goes. So here where olives mixed with olives, there's no improvement. It's the same. So therefore we see here that nosei tam l'shvach lo l'shvach lo l'fkam aser. Says the Gemara, could be Mastis is the Rebbe Shimon. Maybe Takar Mish is going to Rebbe Shimon. Rebbe Shimon married nosei tam l'fkam aser. Only Rebbe Shimon holds nosei tam l'fkam aser. He holds also neutral tam asers. But it could be Rabbanan who argue. Say Taka would hold that are not hold like our Mishnah. They'd hold that since there's no enhancement, so therefore it's Taka not also. But Rabbi Shimon oimer nosei tam l'fkam mutter. Wait a minute. Didn't Rabbi Shimon say nosei tam l'fkam is mutter? Where did Rabbi Shimon say nosei tam l'fkam is aser? He holds also nosei tam l'fkam is mutter. No, Rabbi Shimon. There's another Rabbi Shimon, not to which we see that nosei tam l'fkam is aser. No, he holds nosei tam l'fkam is mutter. But there's another Shimon which we see that where we see that he holds neutral tam also asers, like our Mishnah. Where is such a Mishnah? Where is such a case? Rabbi Shimon kruv shol shakya. If you have one type of cabbage which grew in a field which is irrigated, which you cooked with another type of cabbage which grew with a field which is irrigated by rainwater, and we'll see what that means in a subsequent Mishnah. Also, it's also in Eshu Boleah. So we see the Rabbi Shimon holds that nosei tam neutral tam asers. Okay, and that's what we paskin. Nosei tam, even though it's not called nosei tam l'shvach, it's called nosei neutral tam, but that in and of itself asers. Okay? Tani, we learned. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Yehuda ben Pazi b'shem Bar Dalio said, I don't know what that is, but said, Dag Tor, if you have a kosher fish. You don't have this?
No.
What's the next line you have?
Dag Tomei started the new
Dag Tomei? You don't have this whole Gemara?
That Gemara is on the halacha.
Yeah, maybe it's because it's supposed to be over here. Okay. Oh, maybe he's wrong.
Gemara for
Oh, so he probably be the next one then. Makes more sense, Taka. Okay, so we'll do it tomorrow. That's good. It's 10:05 anyway.